Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and this is week 2 of my doing 100 weeks of creating a healthier, happier lifestyle for myself. So, yay for week 2, I think. I hope. It's been an interesting week, to say the least. I am attempting to do this video on my exercise ball because, um, one, I think it just gives me a better view of nothing behind me. And I think it's better to be moving my tummy around a little bit, some mini form of exercise. And I'm hoping it's okay for my leg. I stopped doing it on my exercise ball because my leg has been hurting. And this week I've been doing a little bit of exercising. It took me until Tuesday to start doing that. I hope the change in medication I did was a good thing for my body. I don't feel quite as drained by the medication as I did before, but I did have some severe pain in my leg for like 2 or 3 days, and I was like, I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing. So I think I mentioned that last Friday that I wasn't doing things because of that, and so it took me until Tuesday to really get going. So I'm like, all right, little slow, but still doing it, not giving up on myself. And there were a few days where I was wondering if I was going to do anything, and I thought, but I have to have something to report for my video. So yay for mental work. I think something mentally, emotionally, I'm like, I have to have something for my video, which means I have to get up and do things physically. I have become painfully aware of how sedentary my lifestyle is. I literally just, lay around on my couch when I'm at home, and I drive for a living, so I'm sitting down. I don't do a whole lot of actively moving around. So I have been making minor attempts, call them minor baby steps. I am trying to remember and mentally process this every time I am struggling to remind myself that I am doing baby steps. I am going for little subtle changes to work towards being healthier and happier in my life and creating better, more positive attitudes and making better, healthier choices for myself. So, which reminds me of my self-reliance, my emotional self-reliance class that I was taking last night. And someone in the class did this analogy that I just love. I love analogies. My brain works on analogies, things that I can process, make sense, relate to, something that I can relate to. So this person in my group said something, and she heard it from somewhere else. So I don't know who originally said this. I apologize. So I can't really quote it. So I'm just paraphrasing something I heard from someone else that heard from someone else. So it's, one of those gossip chain things. But I like the analogy, so I'm going to go with it. Anyway, it's the idea that there's, I guess, black and white sand in our brain, and all of the negative things that we have, all of the negative experiences that we have, all of the bad habits that we have are like black sand. And all of the positive experiences that we have, all of the positive experiences, all the good habits we have are like white sand. And so basically you can fill your brain with white or black sand. And depending on how much you have of whichever you have is what you're going to focus on. It's what you're going to see. It's what you're going to do. It's what you're going to be. And the way she said it was something like you just start filling your brain with white sand, and if it gets full, it just starts kicking out the black sand. So every grain of sand, the white one you put in kicks out a black one. But I think the same is true in reverse, that every black one you put in kicks out a white one, because you can't have both. But it's not like you just have one giant black ball of sand and one giant white ball of sand, and you just, they kick each other out back and forth. It's, individual grains of sand. And sometimes I think my brain is full of the black sand. There's very little white in there. I think since I started doing my 100 days of gratitude over a year ago, that I have been filling my brain with more white sand and more positive things. And I think that has been helping me to get rid of or drain some of the black sand that's in there. So that's been a good thing, but it's a gradual thing. It's a slow little shift of things. It's changing my perspective, recognizing different things, focusing on more positive things, focusing on things I'm grateful for every day. So I was just really grateful for that analogy. And that's basically what I'm attempting to do over the next, I guess, 98 weeks, because we're on week 2 for my 100 weeks. of creating a healthier, happier lifestyle is just slowly putting one grain of sand every day, positive white grain of sand, towards building something healthier, something happier, something that will help me to feel better physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, mentally, financially. I don't know if I did all of those: spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, socially, financially, all 6 of those things, to feel better, to fill up with more white sand than black sand. So that is kind of my goal. And I have to keep reminding myself of that. I have to make a conscious effort, which I think is a mental exercise for me. Seriously, I'm just calling it a mental exercise so I can say I'm doing something mentally during the week, to mentally, consciously remind myself of that. And I will admit that I kind of was curious and stood on my scale on like Tuesday or Wednesday to see if I was losing any weight, because I just want to see the scale go down. And then I have to remind myself, this is only week 2. I am just getting started. And again, that weight didn't come on overnight, and it's not going to just fall off overnight. But my problem is I have it's not a mental disorder. I just have, I have a distorted mental image. And maybe it's not distorted. Maybe it's just a mental image I would like to get back to. But I was always a skinny kid growing up. I was always skinny. My biological mom would call me Skinny Minnie. My older sister would tell me that I was so pretty because I was skinny. And my older sister is beautiful. She is very beautiful. But she was always overweight. Weight has nothing to do with beauty. Honestly, it does not. I never believed that. I don't now. But I was always skinny. And to point that out, I was 5'6" and 106 pounds when I graduated from high school. Not a healthy skinny, but I was skinny. Like, I was skinny. So I think by the time I got through college, I did do that whole freshman 20. I was 120 pounds with my associate's degree when I was 20 years old. I don't think I even started putting on weight until after I had my appendix out when I was like 19 or something like that. I was like, all right. And then I just started putting on weight. And then I kept putting on weight, and I think I tapped out at 180. And then I did some exercise challenge when I worked at a justice courts and with some of my coworkers, and I got down to 150, and I was feeling great about myself and my life. And then my grandmother passed away, and I fell into a bit of a depression. And then I became a truck driver, so I was driving all the time, and I got back up to like 170. Not a healthy weight for me, obviously. And then I became a bus driver, and I think I was around 180, maybe 190 when I got married like 6 years ago. But I mean, that was like the heaviest I'd ever been in my life, and I never thought I would get heavier than that. And then after my divorce, it's been 6 years, and now I'm 270. So as you can see in my mind, I look at like little seats or folding chairs or things like that and think that I can sit comfortably in them. And then, when my butt doesn't fit through the little hole in the back anymore because it's too big, or go on rides with my nephews or something, and I'm like, I don't fit in the little seats anymore. I can't fit through the little aisles or the little doorways, things that I used to be able to fit through. So I look at some small space and my brain says, I can fit through this, no problem. And then I go to squeeze through, and then my body's like, remember, we weigh way more than we're supposed to. And I'm like, oh yeah, how did I get this big? So the mental image I have of myself is of myself being skinnier. Because I have been skinnier most of my life. And even in my adulthood, as I was weighed a little bit heavier, I have never weighed this much in my life. So this is very uncomfortable weight for me. I am not a flexible person, so it is very difficult for me to reach different parts of my body, especially my feet. I can't reach my feet at all. It's just an impossibility. I've never been flexible. I took a class in college. They called it Fit for Life. Me and my classmates jokingly called it Fit for Death. Like, everyone called it Fit for Death because you had to do all these exercises and workouts. And the first week or two, I didn't really do it. But then I got a partner in the class, and we went to the gym. We signed out. We did the exercises. We went for walks every day. I was doing everything in that class that we were supposed to, and the stretches and the exercises. And the teacher was telling us that at the end of the quarter, we should be able to stretch like further, like reach further than we could at the beginning. I was exactly the same. And he was like, normally he would like fail students or give them really bad grades for that. And he was looking at me and he was like, I was exactly the same. I could not stretch any further. I was not any closer to being able to like have my legs stretched out and my fingers touching the tips of my toes. I don't know how people can like literally bend in half to touch their toes when you're sitting down, legs stretched out, and then leaning over, touching your toes with your fingers. I can't do that. I could not do that when I was 120 pounds. There is no way I can do that at 270. Not even going to try. But I couldn't do it then. And they measured like how close I was. And then at the end of the class, they measured how close I was again. And I was exactly the same spot that I was. And it was like, and my teacher was like, I'm going to give you a pass on this just because I know I've seen that you've logged in, you've been going to the gym, you've been doing this stuff, you've been doing everything you're supposed to in the class. But normally people that do that can actually reach further. And I was like, yeah, I am just not flexible. I am just not flexible. So being overweight is very difficult for me because I cannot reach my feet. I cannot buckle my shoes. I cannot tie my shoes. I can't reach around my fat to do it. So I'm grateful I have little shoes that I can slide on and off because it's not, like I said, not comfortable for me to be this size. So I know I need to lose the weight. This is a good thing. I know I need to work on, I need to do. And again, in my brain, when I go stand on my scale and it says the 70, I'm thinking 170. And then I look down and it says 270. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 270 pounds. I'm not 170 pounds. So really looking forward to getting back down to 170. Ideally, I would like to be, I think I had a doctor tell me ideally I was supposed to be like 130, 140, something like that when I was 150. So I think I was supposed to be 140. So I'm like, I'm 10 pounds off. If I get back down to 150, size 10 again, I think I'll probably be thrilled with that. Be happy if I can maintain that. Not that I'm not happy now. I know it's not all about size and weight, but it's about feeling healthy. It's about having energy. And I don't always feel like I have energy. So that's been a huge struggle for me. And I feel like part of that tiredness and lack of energy has to do with all of the extra weight that I'm carrying around. And that's emotional weight as well as physical weight that I am carrying around. So I need to work on the emotional stuff as well. Having a harder time with dealing with the emotional stuff, kind of trying to put that on the back burner, which is not good because if I don't deal with the emotional stuff, I won't be able to deal with the rest of the physical stuff and the other stuff. But I did also this week start reading my scriptures and meditationals again. So I'm very proud of myself for that. Kudos for spiritual, working on that. I think I've done that the past 4 days. So probably since Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing that. I actually think I started that a little bit last week. So I might have done that a little before, but I can't remember. So I'm just going to say I know I've done it from at least Tuesday forward. So I'm happy about that. And my kitchen was getting a little out of control again because when my leg was hurting last weekend and last week I did not do anything in my kitchen. So I'm getting it back to order today. So not just today. I started cleaning up in my kitchen again Monday or Tuesday, and that made me happy to start making some dishes again. But I was also very grateful that for the last couple of weeks, all the dishes that I had been doing have built up so that I actually had dishes in my cupboard again. So I had clean dishes. I didn't have to wash dishes in order to be able to cook food and make food. So yay for that. I wish I could say that I'd gone grocery shopping and that I bought snacks or made snacks so that I was not buying them from the gas station, but I've been buying from the gas station and I spent the money that I had set aside for grocery money to pay bills because I did not work for a few days last week because I was in so much pain, which was a good thing. But then it puts me behind financially, so I'm stressing about how I'm going to pay all of my bills at the end of the month and my rent and things that are due at the first of the month. So thankfully I have an understanding landlord and I can pay him in increments and not all at once, which I'm very grateful for because not everyone is willing to let me do that. But again, just wishing I was further ahead or more caught up, but trying to take care of myself physically in the process. Been very frustrated with my water intake, to be perfectly honest. I've been trying. I'm pretty sure I've been downing at least 4 of those 20-ounce bottles, so I've been drinking about 80 ounces of water, and my goal is 120. Ideally, I probably need to be closer to 130 to 140 ounces of water, and 80 is what I know I can drink every day. 80. I got 4 down, pretty good, pretty solid 4 bottles of water. I need to increase that. But I've kind of thrown off my count. I think I've been pretty good at drinking at least 5 bottles of water every day this week. I'm not sure about the 6th bottle because I've been throwing off my count. I've been messing with my brain. So last night I came up with a solution to not mess with my brain anymore. And yes, this is a mental exercise for me to try to keep track of how much water I am drinking. And I am not doing a very good job of that. So I came up with a new solution to figure out how to do that. So basically, what I need to do, basically what it is I always take a bottle of water to bed with me. So if I don't finish drinking water, I will take a bottle of water to bed with me. And I may have started it so that it's not completely full before I go to bed. And then I may drink it, like if I get up in the middle of the night or the middle of my sleep cycle, whatever, to go to the bathroom or get something to eat, because I wake up every 3 to 4 hours, which is annoying, or sometimes 2 to 3 hours. And sometimes I can go back to sleep 2 or 3 times. Sometimes I can only go back to sleep once, and I only end up getting whatever that second set of sleep is. So somewhere between 5 and 6 hours of sleep. I would like to get more than that, and I would like to get it straight through without the interruptions. But that is how my body works. And my mind sometimes just will not shut off so I can go back to sleep. So anyway, years ago, when I was exercising and doing from that 180 to 150, every time I would exercise in the morning and I was eating healthy and I was writing in my journal before I went to bed, I would sleep. I actually would sleep 7 to 9 hours straight through without waking up in the middle of the night. It was amazing. So I'm hoping that if I give myself consistent times to go to bed, consistent times to wake up, which I'm still not good at that, trying, but still not, and doing the exercise and eventually getting myself to write in my journal, that I will be able to sleep for like 6 or 7 hours straight through. That would be nice. 7 would be great. And then maybe I wouldn't be quite so tired. So anyway, there's that. So my problem is that I drink that bottle of water at night, and then if it's not finished in the morning, I finish it off, so that I'm just kind of like, well, how much of that did I drink the night before? How much did I drink today? How much of that counts towards my 6-bottle goal? So I have a 16-ounce bottle of, well, it used to be apple juice, but it's basically it's a plastic bottle, 16 ounces, that I fill up with water. So, and I've had it sitting in my fridge for like my 7th bottle of water that I can drink to get me to that like 136 or something, to get my half, if I ever get through my 6 bottles of water for the day, then I have that as my 7th bottle to, get to half of my body weight, drinking half my body weight in water. So I decided last night that instead of drinking more bottles of water, then what I would do is I would just put that one at my bed. So if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would drink out of the 16-ounce bottle of water instead of the 21. And then I would just, if I drank out of a 21 and I didn't finish it, rather than dump the water out, I would be like, okay, I drank 4.5 or 5.5, whatever bottles of water, and then I could just fill the rest of it up and use it again for the next day, so that I have a solid 6 bottles of water lined up on my counter every day when I get up, and just set those out, like, all right, these are my 6 for the day I have to get through. And at the end of the night, we will see how many I actually get through. So hopefully that will work. But I did use the bottle of water in my bed last night, but I did not fill up the one that I started to drink last night. So I finished that one, but it wasn't full when I started it today. So I'm not really sure how to count that one, which makes it look like I'm only on my 1st bottle of water again. So I feel like I'm just not drinking water. It's very frustrating to me, and I'm probably not drinking water, which is really the absolute problem, is that I'm not drinking water. So I'm trying to convince myself I'm drinking more water because of my overnight bottle of water, but I'm not really drinking any more water. This is my brain goes in circles, and I need to control it. I need to mentally scale it back and stop trying to make things more complicated than it has to be, and just be like, okay, this is what we're doing. More mental exercises for me. So like I said, financially, I've been attempting to work this week, which is good. But it's been a slow week for work, and I've been still been a lot of pain, been a lot of tired, and having the realization that I can't force myself to do things. I remember my sponsor in my Al-Anon program. my 12-step program, pointed out to me one time that I do things when I'm ready. And I was like, I what? I just like, you just do things when you're ready. You don't do it before then. And I recognize that that's true. And it doesn't matter how hard I push myself to do something. I feel like I have this internal clock that just says this like internal timing sensor. And this is when we're ready to do something and we do it. And this is when we're ready to do something and we do it. And I've noticed that. I've been paying attention to that for the last couple of days. And even when I woke up with a little bit of a headache, borderline migraine, it's not really a migraine, it's just, threatening to be one, which is really annoying because the weather is all wonky. And so when the weather is wonky and my allergies are wonky and then I don't get enough sleep, then my head does weird things and it usually turns into migraines, which is not fun. So it hasn't turned into a full-blown dizzy spell of migraine, can't function, but it has been very uncomfortable and making me not want to do things because my head hurts. But in spite of my head hurting, I have found myself walking down the hall and doing those 5 push-ups on the wall, 3 sets of 5 on the wall, and then the 5 pull-ups in the door frame. And then I have a foam mattress it's a twin-size foam mattress I put on the floor. Don't have a frame or anything for it, it's just a mattress on the floor. But I just don't feel comfortable laying on a hard floor surface. And even though I have like those exercise mats, they're like really thin and flimsy and they're just really hard. So it hurts to lay on those to do exercises. It just hurts my body. So I do it on my little foam mattress. I'm not sure how healthy that is. I'm not saying that's a good idea for other people to do, but it works for me. So I just kind of lay on that and just my body sinks into the little foam, and then I do my little leg lifts and my tummy crunches. And I've been doing like some tummy crunches, and I'm trying to do like, where you get the knee, the elbow, the opposite elbow. And again, remember, I have no flexibility and I have way too much fat, so my elbows are nowhere near my knees. But I lift my knees and my elbows and I try to like lean in that direction. And hopefully someday I will be able to get on this video and go, guess what? My elbows hit my knees. That's so awesome. I am nowhere near that, by the way. So far away from being able to get my elbows to touch my knees. There's too much fat on me. And like I said, I have no flexibility whatsoever. Jealous of my biological mother, who was very overweight, but that woman could do the splits. She was super flexible. She could reach any part of her body. I'm super jealous she could do that. I am not. I did not inherit that. So anyway, talking a lot about my physical body because that's just kind of the easiest thing, but it also is how my mentally picture myself and trying to get my mental image of myself to be equal to what my actual image of myself is, or getting the image of myself to or getting my body to change to meet my mental image. I'm not sure, trying to find that balance in there and being okay with myself, and mentally trying to keep track of all of my water bottles and drinking and trying to eat healthier, looking at labels of things before I buy them to make sure that at least doesn't have dairy in it before I purchase it. So making attempts at things to be slightly healthier. So it's been an interesting challenge to do that. And I really do need to go grocery shopping so that I can make more snacks or buy snacks that I can just take to work, which will save me the money and the time at the gas station. So that'll be nice. And then I guess emotionally, the closest I can say I'm doing with that is just going to my emotional self-reliance class, which I did last night. And I figure when I'm ready, I will start writing in my journal. When I'm ready to face and deal with all of this emotional stuff, I will start writing in my journal. But I know that's going to come because it has to. As part of all of this, I have to be able to write about it. I have to let all of this stuff go as well. So I've been thinking about it, but I haven't quite got there yet. So maybe this next week I will start journaling a little bit again. That would be awesome. And then so spiritually, obviously, I went to church on Sunday, which was really nice. And then I've been reading my scriptures and my meditationals and started doing my Come Follow Me 3 days ago. I don't know, I think Wednesday I started doing that. So I'm like, yay, I'm getting there. I'm doing little things to help boost my spirituality. So yay. And then socially, of course, I did my self-reliance class. So I went around that. I see people when I go to work. I did do a little FaceTime thing with my Romanian friend. She's actually in Romania right now, which is really cool. She lives in Canada, but she's visiting family in Romania, which is where she is from. So she's posting pictures on Facebook, and she We did like Facebook call. I didn't know you could call people and talk to each other on Facebook. I learned new things about all this social media stuff. So I'm like, that was really kind of cool. It's nice to to chat with her and kind of catch up and talk about things. And she thinks I'm super brave and awesome for doing these videos. And she's like, you can totally do this. And I'm like, that is so cool. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm super brave or super awesome for doing these videos. But to me, this is more my accountability, my report, because it's a way to be accountable to myself as well as to whoever chooses to watch these videos. And I realize I don't have a huge following of people watching my videos. So, but it helps me because I know I have to have something to say in my videos. And I know that God is there. I'm saying my prayers every time I do this. And so I'm accountable to Him as well. And so it just kind of helps me to keep on track. And like I said, there was a time or two this week when I was like, I just don't want to do anything. And I'm like, oh yeah, and what I'm going to say in my video. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do something just for that. So, and I have had those moments where I've just been laying around on my couch and then I just suddenly get up, but I'm just going to walk in the other room and I start doing my exercises, or I start getting something to eat, or whatever it is. So I start doing things, and it's that reminder that I do things when I'm ready. And I can't seem to get myself to always do things in the order I want, or jump start myself when I get out of bed, because some days like today I just don't want to get out of bed and get started. But I'm slowly doing it because I want to do my videos, because I want to get healthy. So I'm kind of keeping those ideas mentally in my mind of all the reasons why I'm doing this, so that it kind of is percolating in my brain constantly, so that I can have that more at the forefront of my mind as to what I'm doing. So that's, and I did, I think, message some other people this week, but I didn't do a whole lot of social stuff. I'm not really good at the whole social stuff, but my Romanian friend thinks that I need to start dating and get married. And I was like, I could add that to my socializing thing, but I really don't know how to go about doing that. And I really am not a huge fan of the dating websites and trying to scour through people, or and I work nights, which is when most of the activities for single adults are. And even Mom Shoemaker, I think a week or so ago, she gave me somebody's number that works with single adults in the church, in her ward, not mine. But she's like, you should call her and see what's going on. And I'm like, I should call her because she's a really awesome lady, and it would be nice to chat with her and see how she's doing. But I don't know about going to any of their activities. But it wouldn't hurt, because it would be socializing and it would be being around other people, and that might be nice to do. So anyway, that's kind of my report for the week. Kind of not doing the best with socially and emotionally doing things, but I think I'm doing pretty good on the other things. And trying to mentally remind myself that this is baby steps. This is a process. One grain of sand in, white one in, black one out, kind of a thing. Just slowly shifting the way that I do things, shifting the way that I think about things. And so not being disappointed that I'm only 270. So when I was 270 at week 0, and then I was 274, my period, and bloated and all of that fun stuff. And now I'm back to 270. So I'm like, well, I gained 4 pounds the first week and I lost those 4 pounds the second week. So I'm pretty much back where I started. Hopefully, my weight will either stay the same or get lower. I do not want it to get any higher than this. As I said, this is just really an unhealthy weight for me. It's very uncomfortable for me. I never expected to be this size. I just thought my body had like a cutoff at like the 180 point and was never going to pass it. So it's amazing what depression will do, apparently. And having a sedentary life instead of an active one where I have to move around and do things. And I think I always had other jobs or things where I was constantly moving, and now I have them where I'm constantly not moving. So having to find ways to get myself to be more active, to do more walking, to get up. Oh, and I've started at work. I've actually started taking breaks every like 2 to 3 hours. Just taking a break and getting out and walking around, so that I'm not sitting in my car all night long. So I think that's also helpful, beneficial as well. And I've noticed by doing the leg lifts and the other things that the pain and the tingling in my leg and my sciatica and stuff has not been nearly as intense. It's still painful. I'm going to say that it isn't. My leg is still in the process of healing, and I'm sure that the blood clots are not completely gone. That's why I'm still taking the medication, but I have different medication, which I don't seem to have as adverse of reactions too. So I am grateful for that. So positive things, positive thinking, reminding myself of other little changes, little things that I'm doing, and trying to remember even when I'm home to get up and move around a little bit. Or when doing my videos, I'm trying to sit on my exercise ball again instead of sitting on my bed, because I think it's just better for my posture, better for exercising purposes. Just better, just trying little things and hoping it's not hurting my leg too terribly much, which it's not, and I'm grateful for. Not that my leg is terribly happy with whatever, but it does allow me that little extra bit of exercise, little extra bit of movement, and I think every little bit of movement I can do right now is a positive thing for me, and will hopefully help my body decide that it can shed some of these extra unwanted pounds that interfere with my being able to do things like buckle my shoes. So anyway, that is what I have for this week. I know it's kind of focused mostly on the physical and not some of the other areas, struggling with some of the other areas, I think. But I have noticed that I have been in a lighter mood just from reading my scriptures and meditationals, and that I have been slowly been willing to do more, done more cleaning, done more other things like that, that just makes me feel happier and better about myself, and just more things that are coming into my view that have been there this entire time, but suddenly I'm like, okay, I might need to start dealing with that soon. I might need to clean this up. This is starting to bother me, which it didn't before. And these are good things, because they're things I'm aware of, but they're things that I don't feel overwhelmed about, but they're things that I'm like, okay, I need to start working on this. I need to start fixing this. I need to start doing this. So I'm happy for things like that. And right now it's mostly just like little cleaning things. Like the other day I went to clean and I had to get out a scrubber to get something out of the crock pot, because I'd left it sitting for too long. So I had to scrub it. And I'm like, well, as long as I'm scrubbing this, I'm going to scrub those little spots on my counter that have been there since I moved in. They weren't things that I did, but you could just scrub them off, and it just took a little extra elbow grease, and I just never cared enough to do it. And I did it yesterday, and I thought, that's so awesome of me. And then I found some Drano for my bathroom tub, but it has like one of those things where you're supposed to snake it first, and then you're supposed to pour the Drano in it. And so I'm like, well, I need to do that. I haven't got around to it, but I found the Drano, so I'm thinking about it. So just little things like that. And I think the more that I think about them and I'm aware of them, and the Drano's sitting on my kitchen counter, so every time I do my dishes, I'm staring at it like, all right, I gotta go unplug my bathroom tub, which I know is full of all of my hair, especially my really long hair before I chopped it off. So it's just gonna be gross to snake that out, which is why I don't want to do it. But I know at some point I will do it. I know that these things are slowly coming to mind, and I will start doing them. And as I feel better about myself emotionally and spiritually, and obviously mentally, I start doing things more physically for myself, because I want to. I just suddenly have the energy because I'm not emotionally draining myself, which I think is good. So even though I've been tired, I still had energy, and I still managed to muster and get myself to do more things this past